Tim Sackler here. It's the 325th anniversary of the founding of Christ Church, or at least we think so. We're going to run down to the archives and see if our archivist, Carol Smith, can verify it for us. So let's go. Carol, are you here? Wonderful. Oh, look, we're here with Carol Smith, the archivist of Christ Church. And I think you have in this drawer proof that we were founded on November 15th, 1695.
Absolutely. The first deed to the church land.
Well, maybe bring it upstairs and we can take a closer look at it.
Sounds great.
Well, Carol, thanks for coming up from the archives, and you've brought some very old documents. And are these the ones that tell us that we were founded in November of 1695?
Exactly right. These are two different versions of the same deed between Joshua Carpenter and Griffith Jones. Joshua Carpenter was acting as trustee for the church. It was for the plot of land on 2nd Street. And it is dated on the 15th day of November, Anno Domini 1695. So this is the oldest document that we have, and because of this date, that's what we trace our founding.
Now, do I remember this right, that once we had to prove we had the deed to City Hall and we had to take this down and show them?
Don Smith did, yes, absolutely, because apparently they claimed they didn't have it, whereas we know by looking at this particular deed that it clearly states that it was acknowledged in open court, held at Philadelphia, the 25th day of March, 1695.
Wow. So, and what's it? It's not paper, is it?
It's parchment.
Ah, very interesting, very interesting. Carol, we're now over in Christ Church, and you're standing in the president's pew under this most interesting artifact. Was it here in 1695, or did it come later? And what is it?
Well, it is the coat of arms of King William, the William and Mary coat of arms, and it was in use from 1689 until William's death in 1701 or 1702, I think, depending on the calendar. And my suspicion is it was here from 1695 on, because of course this church, the Anglican Church, the titular head of it would have been King William in those days. It has a lion on one side, a unicorn on the other, flanking the coat of arms of the 4 countries that were then under William's control, I guess. But it's missing a few pieces. It's really interesting.
Now, I understand that the sort of mythical treatment of this piece is that some of those missing pieces came off in 1776. What do you think of that story?
I think that's entirely plausible.
So, Carol, now we're over here at the plaque commemorating, well, how many names are on the plaque of the founders of Christ Church?
There are 36 names on this plaque, and we apparently know who they are because these 36 men signed a letter to Governor Nicholson of Maryland thanking him for his support in helping to erect the church. I think it was financial support perhaps as well as political. And they include a wide variety of people. There are merchants on this list, Jasper Yates and Joshua Carpenter.
Here's Joshua Carpenter's.
Also considered a brewer, apparently.
Oh, good for him.
There was Robert Quarry, another merchant, who later gave the church money to have a second set of silver made to match the Queen Anne silver. And that silver is now on display at the Art Museum. There were bakers, there were carpenters, there was a dyer, a physician, an attorney, and I believe a surgeon. I guess that's completely different from a physician in those days. But in reality, there were only 1,500 people living in Philadelphia in 1695. And what are the odds that you managed to get 36 of them wanting to establish an Anglican church?
Yeah, it says at the top, the founders who in 1695...